This is the Lectric One, my dream bike, and I want to thank Lectric so much for sending this out for review. First and foremost, this is the bike that will absolutely revolutionize what people will want out of an e-bike. It has a belt drive with an automatic transmission, 750 watts of power that goes up to 1300 plus watts in peak, and it's an absolutely amazing ride. You're going to see why I think this will be the bike for 2024 and beyond for everybody to catch up on. Now, it does start at a higher price point, but when you see what you get, you're going to find that this is a bike that I think will blow away the competition, and they're going to have to really do their best to try to make anything near this, especially for the price point that you get. Pound for pound, this bike has more torque and power for its weight than anything else that's out there at the 750 watt class. You'll see more about it when I go through all of the unboxing, the ride footage, and of course the detailed specs. So let's get started on the review.
Cruising through the city streets, flying on my own. Got the wind in my hair, receiving peace unknown. Electric One beneath me rides like a cyclone. 750 watts, power straight to the bone. Auto shifted gears, ping has got my back. No need for manual, the future's on track. All day riding, I ain't ever feeling slack. Dream bike, I've been waiting for, ain't no drawback. Electric One, my soul, it sings. Breeze in my face, freedom it brings. Hear that distinct electric ring. They ride in this high-flying thing. Every corner, every turn feels so right. Fast and powerful, a day into the night. Invisible wings amplify my might. In city glow or country light. Push the pedal, feel the surge, ain't no way. Gravity defies smooth gliding state. Power of the past, future sparks, gate. Dream bike mistakes, no babes trait. Electric One, my soul, it sings. Breeze in my face, freedom it brings. Hear that distinct electric ring. They ride in this high-flying thing.
Unboxing and assembling the Lectric One was a really easy process. Lectric packs their bikes so it's super easy to go ahead and take them out right away and get riding as soon as possible. And this was no exception. The Lectric One just basically had to bring down the front flap of the box. Then I moved the bike out, slid it, and made room for the bike to be flipped over. It's a light enough bike that you could just work on it by having it turned upside down, and the only thing you want to do is make sure that there is something underneath the rack if you do flip it over so that it doesn't flip back, because it is so light without anything on the front. Once the tire is put on or the wheel is put onto the front, then you will have no problem. But as you can see, with a lot of foam padding I had laying around, I positioned the bike so I could work on it, get everything nice and tight, everything put together. And once that was done, I realized that the rack had actually been damaged in shipping by FedEx. So I called Lectric to find out what they suggested I do, and they said for now they're gonna ship me out another rack and fender. So I decided I'll just take off the rack and fender that I have here, so when the new one comes in, I'll just be able to put it right back on there. Now, I did the filming of this to make sure that I knew where each nut and bolt went and the screws, because I had never taken a bike apart that had a belt drive before, and I was pleasantly surprised how easy it was. As you can see, the screws and the process is really straightforward. You just take off the back and you can put it right back on. And once I had that on, there is an app that comes with Carbon Gate's belt driven systems that you can actually tune the belt to know what the tension is supposed to be. And then what you'll see me here doing is now plucking at the belt to make sure that the app is actually hitting the right hertz that it's supposed to have. And that was the whole process. After that, all I had to do was then put everything back together, tighten up all the nuts and bolts, make sure everything was running, and this is what it looked like without having a back rack and fender on. And I think it looks pretty cool, and it actually runs really well. So I may leave it this way. Okay, so we're stepping up to the Lectric One, and as I mentioned earlier, this is pretty much my dream bike. I don't know if there's anything else that can ever come close to the performance of this bike and the technology that's in it, and basically just the overall ride with power, speed, and automatic transmission. So I want to go ahead and start from the back of the bike, and then we're going to move forward toward the front. Let's go bit by bit over what we have here. Now I have, first and foremost, it's a 20-inch tire. with a 2.5-inch width of a street tire. So as you can see, the treading is very smooth, and this allows for really nice road and commuting feeling on it. Now I have the tire pressure down to almost minimum, maybe about 30 psi. You can go up to, I believe, 55 max pressure. If we look closer, we can see here the minimum pressure is at 25 psi. Max pressure is right above that. I believe it says 50. What we have is the ability to make this tire very, very stiff. Now, as you can see, there is no suspension on this bike. And the reason being is they wanted to keep this bike as light as possible with just really the essentials to make a really comfortable ride. So I leave the tires a little above minimum so that we have a little softer ride. Now you do lose a little efficiency, but it's barely even noticeable as far as that type of loss of efficiency. I just wanted just to be a little softer. You could add a suspension seat post, and they have a comfort package that can be added so that you have a suspension seat post and a softer seat. Now there's nothing wrong with this seat that we have here. I've been riding for about, I think, 10 miles today already as it is, and it's already like super comfortable. I don't have any issues with riding even longer periods. We have to go back home, so we have another, I think, 6 or 7 miles to go. And it's just a really smooth, comfortable bike in the sizing that we have. I also want to say, mentioning comfort, now I have this strapped in, so I won't be able to show you. I think in the unboxing, I'll have some footage that I can show you, but by popping this up, you can adjust the handlebar pitch closer and further to you, so you can make this really comfortable for you to ride. And even a ½ inch closer and farther makes a big difference on whether you're leaning or you're straight up and down. So you have a setting that can be made to each and every individual separately. Now we move a little closer to the transmission. 750 watt motor, that's a nominal, and it goes up to over 1300 watts peak. With that kind of power with a bike that's this light, you do often find when people jump on it, I've seen a lot of others, as soon as they jump on it, the front wheel will pop off the ground. So you have to be a little careful with this. You can tune it so that you can have this bike be a lot more aggressive or less aggressive. This automatic transmission that we have, this is called the pinion system here. It actually has gearing, just like sprockets and gears that, you know, I imagine something like this on the inside moving around. So it's not a chain like you normally have a derailleur that's pushing a chain up and down these teeth. It's actually like gearing like a transmission in a car where these parts are moving and shifting, and you can actually hear it. In fact, maybe we can hear it if I get close enough here. You can hear the gearing shift. There, that little shifting is just moving within the transmission in this area here. As I push this up and down, you can hear it. Yeah, and then yeah, so it's going up and down. Now the cool thing is you don't have to worry like on a normal bike that you're not in the right gear and you're forcing the chain to move until the bike starts to move. That gearing is automatically just moving within it so that you have it at a dead stop. You can put it all the way down to the lowest gear without having to worry about your chain being tensioned, because there is no chain. Of course, this is a carbon gates drive, a belt drive, which means that these belts last almost up to 10,000 miles before you actually need to worry about them. It's really just an amazing system that you also don't have to worry about air pedaling too much, because the gearing is also designed to allow you to keep pedaling even at 28 miles an hour where you're pushing the bike forward. Now you can unlock the bike. It does come sent to you as a Class 2 bike, but it can be unlocked to be a Class 3, and I do have this set to be a Class 3, so when you're pedaling it goes up to 28 miles an hour before the motor stops helping you out. This battery here is over a 14 amp hour battery. I'll have the exact mileage posted below on the bottom here in text. I'm not sure off the top of my head what it is. They originally had launched this with a standard range and then an extended range, and I think they just decided everybody's going to want the extended range anyway, so that's all they're selling right now is the extended range. And I think everybody, I would have pushed them also to just get that extra larger battery for better range anyway, because you know, you're riding a bike like this, the last thing you want to do is stop and charge if you don't have to. The farther you go, the better, right? So we have the battery that is also chargeable on the bike here. You can also take the battery out and pop it out and then charge it in the house if you want to. It's easy to remove that battery. As you can see here, we have a keyhole right here. Just stick it in, turn it. You also have a battery indicator so that when it's not on the bike, you can actually see how much charge you have, so you don't have to put it in the bike to know exactly how much charge you have, and it goes by about 20% range per dot. So we still have a full range even as much as we've been riding today. Now, one of the reasons why this battery is still full even after, I think, what, almost 10 miles of riding today, is because, again, as I mentioned, the efficiency of these tires, and we were going at about a 1% decline most of the way. So the bike was pretty much rolling on its own a lot of the way. It's so smooth on the ride with so little drag because of the way that the tire design and the weight of the bike is so light. There wasn't any issue with us going as fast as we were going. Plus, so we have an app here that you can actually set like the cadence that you want. So target cadence, if I put that there, I put it at 50 right now so that I don't have to pedal as much and I can start helping the bike. If I want to pedal a little bit faster or have it at lower gears a little easier, you can have it set at different cadences here. It came preset at 70, which is actually a fast cadence. I like it at 50, and I will be climbing a hill on the way home. So I may change it while I'm riding, which you can actually while you're going. But you can also turn off the automatic gearing so that you're manually shifting on your own if you want to. Here we have our display, and we do have a flickering that you're seeing. That is because of the frame rate of the camera. With the naked eye, you actually have it completely steady, nice and bright. And as you can see, let me go ahead and clear this off. We had a little dust from riding today. You have your PAS levels set here. As you see me pushing the button, you'll see that the PAS starts to change. So 3, 2, 1. If you hold the plus button down at the top, you'll see that this headlight indicator turns off. But before I turn it off, let me just show you. It is right now 9:50 in the morning, and it's really a bright day, and you already see that, you can see that headlight pretty good. Now this is not going to light up the whole road in front of you, but it does give a lot of visibility for cars to see because it is quite bright, and it does help with, of course, if you want to see what's ahead of you. If you do notice that the headlight is attached to the front of the fender, I've heard some people say they don't care for that. I honestly like that it's ahead of the bike, because a lot of times a lot of bikes will have the headlight here and it will beam over your tire, which adds a shadow to it. More in front, to me, the better. It also gives you the ability to angle it down from here so that you won't blind cars that are actually coming your way. You do have also these rack mounts here, so you can add a rack here. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, I should have done earlier, is that you notice there is no rack and back fender on here. I did take that off. I did have a little problem when shipping came out. If you watch the unboxing, you'll notice that it did come with it. I took it off. Unfortunately, FedEx, when they had shipped the bike, they put something on it that actually pushed the rack and the fender onto the tire, so that it was hitting. I called Lectric immediately. They just told me, you know, you can just take it off. And I was a little intimidated with this belt drive here, but once I took it off and watched some of the instructions on how to put the belt and tune it up to make sure that it's tight and tensioned, it worked out fine. What's really cool about this belt drive here is it's not like it has a chain, right? So if you listen, there's a tone that comes out of this. It's kind of like a guitar string would or a ukulele, but you can basically tighten these tensioners here and the tone will get higher in pitch. And then there is an app made by the Carbon Gates people that you just put the app, your phone under it while you're tuning this, and it'll tell you what the hertz is. And by tuning it, you'll know of whether you have to tighten or loosen it to make it either a higher hertz tone or a lower, and you just use this to tighten it up and straighten out the wheel, and it all worked out. And it was really easy to work with, and no grease because it's not a chain. It's so quiet. It even has a really quiet motor, like 400% quieter than other motors that are of its same class. And I believe it's under a 60-pound bike. It is also foldable because you have this folding mechanism here. You have a little switch that you can hit. You can push this red button here, push this down, and then what you'll see is it bends out here. With it this low, taking a look at it here, this could fit both small SUVs like a RAV4 for sure. You also have the ability to remove the front rim pretty quickly because it has a through axle spinner, which is safer and stronger, but also it's a semi-quick release. You can pull it out and do it. Of course, if you are ever going to remove your front rim, for those of you who ever plan to do that, because you'll lose an extra so many inches in the front, right? So that you can fit it in a car even easier. Make sure that you never pull the brake while the disc is not in or the wheel is not in, because then your calipers will come out too far and you'll probably have to get that either fixed or replaced. So if you carry that extra piece that comes around with the bike, when you get it, make sure you hold on to that, because if you ever have to remove that tire, you want to put that in there so that no one accidentally pulls your brake while the tire is not in there and ruins it. Speaking of brakes, we also have 180mm rotors and hydraulic brakes. Okay, this brake system here is absolutely fantastic for something that goes this fast and of course this light. It does help make you stop pretty quickly without any issues that a mechanical brake system would have. Of course, with the bikes going this fast, Lectric does put in hydraulic brakes now on all their bikes. This also has the smart.shift system. Labeling on this side, this is the pinion system. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of bikes that actually have this pinion system are minimum $6,000 or more. Some run even up to $10,000 to have it. Now, as you can see, one point here, The only thing I would say is a negative that I don't care for, but I know they have to do it this way to keep it as stable as possible, is you will get pedal strike. So if you try to roll the bike backwards, the pedal will get locked and then you'll hit the stand. So that is one thing. In order to put the stand up now, what I'd have to do is lift up the back of the bike and get the pedal moving forward. Let's see. And then put it down here and then put it back out. I can understand why they do it, because if you really want a bike that's not going to fall over, it is better to have it where it's at. And because I know that my pedal locks can happen, it's a very minimal thing. It doesn't affect the ride any. It's mostly just a storage issue that you're going to have problems with. These quick release pedals, you do have them on both sides. So if you are folding down your bike and putting it in a car, by removing the pedals, you actually get 8 inches less width that you'd have to worry about. Of course, in my garage, I have a in tandem garage, so what I normally do is I pull out both the pedals when I'm putting it through, because I don't want it to scratch any of the cars, because this will definitely scratch a car. The other thing I like about these type of pedals is if you are parking the bike at a grocery store or you're going to run in and run out at a convenience store, always lock it no matter what. But to make it a little harder for someone to try to run away with it, you take out the pedals, you open this up. This is a quick release seat. Pop this up. Oh. Pop this out, take out the seat, take out the pedals. If someone tries to actually steal this bike, they're going to have to carry it. They can't ride it. I mean, they're going to be able to roll it out. The other thing I would do is I'd probably even bring down the handlebars a little. I mean, to fold the handlebars so it looks like there's actually a lot of missing parts on it. Take out the battery. Now, nothing's going to stop someone from carrying the bike away, but if you allow them to ride it away, that's going to be a bigger problem. So we have our shifters here, and because our shifters are on the right side where the thumb is, normally what happens is you can't have a twist throttle because it'll take up way too much space, because the twist throttle components are really big. So you have a left side thumb throttle, and by hitting a thumb throttle here, it'll get you going. Of course, it goes up to 20 miles an hour, and then your pedaling can take over to go above that if you have it set to do that. This bike does not come with the cell phone holder or the bottle bag carrier. You do have bottle cage bosses here and here if you wanted to add a bottle cage here, but then of course you lose your step throughs clearance. So you can get these bottle bags at the ebikeproducts.com website. They work really well. You can actually put one on each side if you want to hold a bag for keys and maybe your wallet. And then of course these are also insulated. So if you take a look in here, they're insulated. So it does keep your drinks cooler for a while. Like right now, we are going to have 100-degree weather just today alone, so having an insulated bag with your water is actually really good. Very easy controller system, on and off. Hold the button here and the bike goes off. Hold it again for 3 seconds, the bike turns on. And then of course, if you want your headlight turned on, you just hold the plus button here. Your headlight goes on. You can see a little indicator there. The tail light does also go in. It does come with an integrated tail light that is built into the fender. When I do get the fender, they are shipping me out one as a replacement, and I'll have some pictures put up after I get that, maybe in another video when I do a ride along or something. Now, if you hold both of these together, then what happens is you do get your settings brought in. Now, with the settings that you have here, you do have a lot of flexibility to start changing stuff around. I do not recommend changing anything around. Maybe P08 is the only thing you might want to change right off the bat, because that will unlock it to class 3. But I would say get used to it first, because it's a very torquey bike. I mean, extremely torquey. The other thing is you do have your app here that controls your gearing system. So you don't need it once you have it set to a certain thing. You can have it turned on or off. I like having it on so that I can always change maybe my cadence if I'm going to be hitting a long hill, which we're going to be on the way home. I'm going to be hitting a long hill that will probably want to have a more lower gear as my cadence so that I can help it along a little more. But we'll see, because at a 750, maybe I don't even need to. I mean, that power is going to be enough to get me pretty far without having to help it that much. Oh, and something I didn't also notice here, you also have bottle cage bosses on the bottom here. This is great for like a lock. If you have a foldable lock, Lectric also does sell those folding locks that you can actually put onto these type of occasions here. For the most part, this is just the most complete e-bike that I can think of anybody might wanting. I love this paint that comes with it. It only does come in one color and one frame design as of right now. Okay, so just the last few points I want to talk about this. This bike does have both UL ratings for the battery alone and for the whole electronic drivetrain systems. The other thing is it does have a 330-pound payload capacity. The height range that's recommended is between 5'2" to 6'4". You do also get 96 magnets in a cadence sensor. So this is not a torque sensor bike, but it has 96 magnets on a cadence sensor, which is probably one of the most I think I've ever heard of. I don't know, I gotta verify that. I don't know if anybody else has more than 90 magnets anywhere, which means there is a lot of sensitivity of any small rotation will start the motor going. This cadence sensor is very smooth. Everything about this bike is absolutely perfect. It's definitely has been the dream bike that I've been hoping for. The way that it rides, the way that it feels, the power that you get. I highly recommend this bike. You can check this bike out at ebikeproducts.com/one. That's O-N-E, spell it out. Again, that's ebikeproducts.com/one. That is an affiliate link. If you want to hear more about this bike, please comment below. Tell me what you think. Is it worth $21.99 for what you get? It does, of course. Again, it does come with the rack, it does come with the fender, and you also get a free lock at the time of this recording from what I saw on the website. So it does also have that because, of course, you don't want this bike to get stolen. I would also recommend putting a tracker on it, like maybe an AirTag, maybe hidden in the controller area or somewhere where it won't be seen, so that you can also make sure that if something were to happen to this bike getting taken, you can go ahead and find it. The battery is a 14 amp hour battery, so with a 2 amp charger, it takes about 7 to 8 hours to fully charge from a dead state. For the most part, you don't ever want to run your battery that low anyway, and with the mileage that you get, you probably won't have to charge it up at that low of a rate. You can always just charge it up after a day's ride and get riding again really quickly. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you like this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.